we've been heating that for about 5 minutes with the heat gun here, and this bearing was in the freezer, and what we're going to use is a socket in case it doesn't fit, drop right in, but I'm pretty sure it's going to drop right in. There it is, it's dropped in. I'm just verifying by going around the edge of the race and being sure that it's in all the way, and it is. So the next thing we're going to do is heat these two items right here, and we're going to slide the crank into them. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of grease on both of the seals to make sure that they have plenty of grease when we assemble it. And we just got through heating all of this stuff up, so it's all pretty hot, hotter than I can touch it with. But back to this, is we're going to put grease on all of these seals here. I'll wipe that out, I got too much in there. And then we're going to get the crank out. What we're doing is we put the crank in the freezer, and we warmed both of these. And what we did is we took the seals and we put some grease on them, just some regular old grease, to help lubricate it. And what we're going to do is put some Permatex on the seals around here. We don't need a lot, we just need enough that we need enough to where when these two are put together, it has enough to crush. So I have my thin layer on up here, and I have these two alignments. Don't forget to put those in. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the crankshaft in. And what you need to be careful is that the connecting rod is up. The connecting rod is up towards the this area up here where it exits. And you also want to be sure that you have this aligned correctly. And this here, if you look, the oil pump is on this side, and this is the gear for the oil pump, so this goes in this direction. And it dropped all the way in, so that's a good thing. Now what we want to do is assemble it with the other side. And what you need to remember is you need to keep those guide pins lined up, these ones here. And it's all together. I'm just going to tap it a little bit. As you can see. But I'm going to tap it a little bit. And what I'm also going to do is kind of look at it and see if it's lined up correctly. And after I tighten the whole thing up, I'm going to give it a little smack on both ends so that the bearings are centered, what I call centered. So I have my bolts here in a set pattern, and I'm going to go ahead and start installing those. Every bolt that I install, since this is aluminum, I'm just going to put a dab of anti-seize on all of it, and then assemble it. I'm tightening all these in a cross action, back and forth, hold it in place so that your base right here where your head gasket's going to, your head's going to rest, it's flat and it looks pretty good. I can't even feel that. So I'm going to tighten these up a little bit more. I'm not going to torque, well, I'll torque them down the way I feel that they need to be torqued. Just a little bit extra. There's so many of them. Well, we just got everything torqued down, and I put the nuts on both sides, and when I was spinning it, you could hear a little bit in there. Something wasn't quite running right, and all we had to do is center the crank. So you tap it a few times on this side, tap it a few times on that side, and now it's working exactly the way it's supposed to. So we're going to go in reverse and just assemble it. We took some of our oil here and we poured a little bit down the two holes on the inside here. There's one side over here, the one over here, and there's one over here. They're kind of hard to see, but what they are is they go directly to the bearings. So we dropped some oil down, poured some oil down each one of those to get some oil in the bearings so they're not running dry. We're gonna pour a little bit of oil down in here. It's regular two-stroke oil that we run in the tank, but we're gonna oil it, use that oil to make sure everything's completely lubed. And it's quite quiet now. Sounded a little. The bearings are dry, you could hear them. Now with a little bit of oil in there, they're running really smooth. In reverse. So don't forget. I have a gasket for here, I have the piston here, and the bearing here. I want to put some grease in here in the bearing so that it's lubed, and then I'm also going to lube the inside up here. And then next time you'll see it, this will be on, and we'll be working on the left side over here. We're going to put all this together. Actually, I'll do that. Reassemble it, but I put everything back in on the counter. Starter, and of course the water pump and all the wiring. So it's ready to go in, except for one thing is we still got to fill it with gear oil. So this is the filler hole, and we're going to fill that here on the countertop before we put this back into the scooter.